The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to my review show here of AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts 2023 from the TD Waterhouse in Boston, Massachusetts on July 19th. I'm your host, Karlifornia. Great to be with you all once again. Thought I'd give this one a little bit of a review because later on in this review, I will be throwing it. I will throw it to our American Pro Wrestling Correspondent, the WZWA Network representative over there in the Northern Hemisphere, Mr. Adam Blast, the Blastmaster, because he was there live at the show. So looking forward to seeing what he's got to say and what he's got to show us from his time at the Blood and Guts show here for Dynamite. Anyway, let's crack on with it. The show began with the FTW Championship match between Hook and Jack Perry. As we know, this feud began because of what happened at Forbidden Door, which I also reviewed on this channel. This match went 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, I'm already starting this with a gripe. It's the angle that started this whole feud. And Excalibur trying to explain to us what the reasoning was for Jack Perry to turn on Hook at Forbidden Door, right? The reasoning for all this, again, comes across so juvenile, and I'll talk about the same kind of juvenile angle with the whole Don Callis, Kenny Omega thing later on, okay? This is so juvenile. This is so simple. This is really reaching for a reason for Jack Perry to turn heel on Hook, right? Excalibur was explaining that Jack Perry was jealous of Hook and he was sick of Hook rubbing the FTW title in his face. The reason for him to completely change his whole demeanor after the whole Christian feud and how he was, you know, this good guy baby face that was just fighting for some respect, and, you know, he'd been screwed over so many times. You know, he'd been screwed over by the elite, all that stuff that he's gone through. And this is the reason he turns heel. Why is it every time there's this long build up to something, somebody's doing this thing for a long time, and then there's going to be a big change, like Jade Cargill losing the TBS championship after already wrestling a match, and she just loses it in like 30 seconds to someone else, and then that's it. Like that whole run of her undefeated, and that's how you end it. That's how you end it. She doesn't even just lose the match in like just a one-on-one scenario without having already battled someone. To me, again, like when MJF was off TV for all that time, and they finally brought him back and they just blew their load straight away. And the only reason that Tony allowed him to come back is because, well, you know, I'm listening to what the fans want here, Max. So it's just like that's the big angle. You didn't want MJF to do something to try and screw with the company. No, you just brought him back because you don't have any depth to your booking skills, Tony. And it's prevalent right here, right now, with this angle between these two. That's the reason. Because of the FTW title. Why would Jack Perry care about the FTW title being rubbed in his face? It's supposed to be an unsanctioned championship. That's what it was in ECW. Taz started the FTW title because he couldn't get a shot at the world title. So he created his own one called the Fuck the World Championship. And he lost it to Sabu in a match. He won it back. It made sense to bring it into AEW because they had Team Taz. So wanted to give their main guy, Brian Cage, a championship. Who beat him for it? Once Cage was out the group, Ricky Starks became the champion. Made sense. Ricky Starks loses to Hook. Makes sense. Hook is Taz's son. By that point, the belt doesn't really need to be around. He can carry it. He can bring it to the ring, but does he need to defend it? What's the point? Why would Jack Perry want this championship? What would it mean to him? Anyway, that's me complaining, and I haven't even got to the match yet, but let me be honest, like, I liked the match. I actually did like the match. I just wish that this story had something to it that was actually interesting, that made me be like, wow, like this is a really compelling story between these two. Like, what about when Jack Perry said something about, he's banging the hottest bitch in this company? He's talking like that. And maybe she takes a little bit of exception to it, but she's stuck in this relationship with him and she can't get out of it. And maybe Hook, because he's the handsome devil, or whatever it is that they call him. Maybe he goes and consoles her a little bit. And maybe, we can have like a little bit of a love triangle thing going on here. Hook's a nice guy, and she's torn between her boyfriend that she loves, but also there's this nice guy who's actually treating her like, you can tell a love story in AEW, can't you? We could do something there, couldn't we? Don't you think that would hook female fans? Female fans would be hooked on an angle between Hook and Jack Perry fighting over Anna Jay. That's just, one idea. And I'm pretty sure Disco Inferno came up with that idea ages ago. People want to shit on him and his ideas. Anyway, the match is actually pretty good. I was worried that Jack Perry might be too green to carry Hook, but it appears that Hook has improved quite a bit. It's only a shame that we have a match that goes how long? 11 minutes and 40 seconds, and we have to have a commercial break during it. They're still doing it. Every match, I think, except for the squash match, had a commercial break. There's a real dangerous T-bone suplex that happened off the ring apron. That Jack Perry's feet hit the cameraman on the way down. Really loved Hook's bridging German suplex. And then he went for another, and then he went for another. And then I think Jack Perry reversed it. He hit this wicked elbow strike, Jack Perry did, which looked like a very close 2 count. And I thought it was really cool that they hadn't relied on stupid shit in this match. Maybe they actually do have to listen to the agents now, because they didn't need to rely on dives and things of that nature, which is usually what Jack Perry does. Also happy to see that he's probably not going to be called Jungle Boy anymore. We can leave that in the past, and we don't have to listen to the fucking theme song and see all the fucking nerd burgers out there in the crowd going, oh, fuck you. Stop enjoying yourself so much. I'm sorry. I know I'm grumpy, but it's so irritating and so painful to watch the fans do that. That's hopefully the last time I have to deal with it. Anyway, there's a moment in the match where the referee, Paul Turner's in the corner. There's a collision between Hook and Jack Perry with Paul Turner in the corner, and they barely touched him. And he's down, and he's writhing in pain. He's out. He's so dazed. He's taking forever to get back up from the slightest graze. Lay it in, boys. Make him feel like he actually gets squashed. It's not like this is Brian Cage and Wardlow crushing the referee in the corner. It's fucking Jack Perry and Hook. They're tiny in comparison. They're pretty much the same size as Paul Turner. Come on, guys. If you're going to do it, be more ferocious with it. After all this, though, Hook's trying to get Paul Turner back up, but he gets hit in the head with the FTW title, which is what the whole issue was. It's how Paul Turner ended up being in the corner in the first place, because he's placing the belt in the corner. So very good. That's a good way of, placing someone in a spot where they can be knocked down. But Christ almighty, lay it in. I don't see the point in having this title be so active. They already have enough belts, but now Jack Perry is the FTW champion. Taz is upset, which kind of made me laugh. But look, it was a good match, good start to the show here. Despite my complaints, the match was good at least. Let's see where they go with it. Hopefully they put some more depth to the whole story here. Alex Marvez, I think his name's Marvez. Marvez. Let me have a quick look. Sorry. Alex. Is it Alex Marquez? Oh, forget it, bro. Forget it. I can't find it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's looking for the scoop to see if Jericho and Don Callis are together. They're working on some sort of working relationship together. He gets caught and sent packing. Anyway, let's get to our next match. Of course, we have to have our token female wrestling match on the show, and it gets given 1 minute and 5 seconds. You know immediately when it says so-and-so in action up next or whatever, you know that they're winning the match because they don't even mention the opponent. And her opponent here, Kayla Sparks, was already in the ring. What is this, an episode of WWF Wrestling Challenge? So like, I wonder who's winning. This is just here to fill a little bit of time, a very little bit of time. Kayla's just a bit too green for television, I think. Like, was there no one else you could have put in here with Britt? Nothing against Kayla. Good for her that she had got this opportunity. Apparently, she's been training since she was 13 or something like that. But I don't think she was ready for TV. And I figured that out, even though the match went so short. And Britt Baker beat her with the lockjaw, and that was that. Backstage, MJF and Adam Cole with Renee Paquette. I'm sorry, I completely missed something from earlier. It doesn't matter. This won't be in the timestamps. But yes, after Jericho's with Don and all that stuff, there was a shot of the commentators. And of course, Excalibur's there talking with Tony next to him and Taz on the other side wearing his little mask, and he still looks like a dickhead. We get Adam Cole and MJF. Now they're a tag team. And they're at this Chinese restaurant. Adam Cole's trying to get MJF to eat some spicy food. This is kind of funny, but at the same time, they really need people who know how to write to give at least some tighter verbiage here. The waiter said that the water that they were drinking wasn't water, it was 100% alcohol. If it was 100% alcohol, they'd be dead. Okay. Oh, do a take two and say, just say it's an alcoholic beverage. Say it's a Long Island iced tea. I don't know. But anyway, they fade to the next scene where they're both drunk now. They both had a bit too much to drink. But the plates of food still had the same amount of food on it. You should have taken a little bit away so like they've been eating a little bit whilst being drunk. And then they double clothesline the waiter. And I'm like, what was that? Don't get me wrong, I didn't have that much of a problem with it. I am nitpicking a little bit, but I was just like, what was that? Anyway, back to where we were. MJF and Cole were with Renee. They're giving each other matching outfits. Roderick Strong shows up with a neck brace around his neck, and he's calling out for Adam. I guess maybe he's trying to warn him that MJF is going to turn on him, which we all know is going to happen. But I'll tell you what, it actually is really entertaining seeing MJF just pretend so much that he's this nice guy and that he's with Adam Cole here. We all know where it's going to lead to, because they alluded to it later here. So the next match was the Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament Final. All these teams in this tournament, they were just random teams put together. Cole and MJF have had some issues. They'll put together now they're the best of friends. Clearly MJF is playing him. They take on the Jericho Appreciation Society with Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. This is the final. It goes 10 minutes, 45 seconds. I think Daniel Garcia's win-loss record sounds horrible, bro. 43-35. I think they need to take that stuff off. I don't think it's necessary. It makes him just, I don't know. You look at like popular mixed martial artists, their record might be like, 25-7 or something like that, or 43-35 doesn't sound that impressive. Sammy apparently has only had 11 singles matches this year, and it's July. I don't know what it would add up to if he added the tag matches or whatever, or was it counting? Because this was a tag match, so they just mentioned the singles record. If he's only had 11 matches and it's the 7th month of the year, that's not enough. A lot of these people need more reps, bro. That's just me. Anyway, this Cole and MJF thing was popping me. It's something different because he's going to fuck him over soon. We got Jericho on commentary. Thankfully, this time he wasn't as bad as I've heard him on Rampage. At the beginning of this match, MJF calls for a dance-off with Daniel Garcia, who's clearly doing a dancing gimmick for his sports entertainment thing. Sammy Guevara has no rhythm whatsoever. It was terrible, but I did find this funny, right? I did find this funny, but at the same time, if Adam Cole was still in WWE and they had him do something like this over there, and when he's pumping the air and stuff because he was the worst dancer of them all. It was set up that way. He didn't even want to do the dancing in the first place. MJF put him in this position, but then he got really into it and he was terrible, which is hilarious, right? I really found it funny. But again, if he did this in WWE with someone else, guarantee you all those fans would be like, oh my God, look what they've done to Adam Cole. So it's okay over there because it's AEW. But if they did it over in WWE, oh, can you imagine how they would respond to that? I think it's hilarious how hypocritical they are. I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of AEW fans out there though that do get it, that aren't delusional. I've seen them say, I love AEW, but sometimes they do things that I can't keep letting them get away with it. I have to call a spade a spade. I did like MJF faking a dive early on. And I thought this was oddly entertaining and I couldn't put my finger on it. It was just entertaining. Then Cole was trying to make MJF do a dive. And MJF is just killing me. Like he didn't want to do the dive at first, but then he finally did it. And the reaction that he got, like, wow, like look at the adulation I'm getting because I actually did do a dive. It was really good. Great storytelling. So anyway, eventually they hit a double clothesline and they win, which again, like when it's something like that, my brain tells me, oh, you should hate that. You should hate that because it's so hokey, but I like it. A double clothesline. That's dumb. And I love it. Maybe that's where my fandom's at. I just like dumb stuff. And then okay, after the match here though, okay, so they've won, they're going to the finals, they're facing FTR on Collision for the titles on whatever date. Cole's going to give the belt back to MJF. This whole thing that happened after this, they were stretching for time so much. I don't know what they were waiting for, but he was going to hand him his belt, and then he was caught looking at the belt. And then MJF got really fucking mad at him, shoved him. What do you think you're doing? Good storytelling in a way. Little bit, I don't know, contrived, just a tiny bit. FTR come out. There's a stare down. And it just goes on forever. And I thought the segment probably didn't need this many layers, but E for effort. But again, I was sitting there and I'm like, why are they stretching this segment out so long for? What are they waiting for? Nothing is happening. Really, really odd. But again, 2 out of these 3 matches very much enjoyed. I can't say I enjoyed or disliked the squash match, but it went 1 minute and 5 seconds. What do you want me to say? It was nice seeing Britt Baker. I am a fan of hers. Anyway, we're getting towards the tail end here of this review. And at this time, I'm going to have to throw it to the WZWA Network's US correspondent, our representative over there in the Northern Hemisphere, the one and only Mr. Adam Blast. I'm going to give him a call right here, right now. And here we go. Hello? Hello, Blastmaster? Adam Blast? Karlifornia here, bro. We're ready for your road report, your official WZWA road report for Blood and Guts, bro.
Oh shit, it's time for the road report already? Well, I better perk up. Alright, I'm in the minivan Terminator heading towards Boston Garden. Let's start talking about my shirt here. As you can see, it's got my moniker on it. This logo came about one night. I had a belly full of fruit punch, and the closest thing to a ball within reach was a brain-shaped Jello mold I used for one of my Halloween shows. I think we were doing brain eaters, so I served the audience Jello brains. It's a long story. But as I'm sitting there puking this red liquid into this brain-shaped Jello mold, boom. Most people would be like, oh, woe is me, I'm misery. Not me, I'm thinking money. I I get a picture, I get a logo, I can see myself puking, I do a crude sketch, send it off to a graphic artist, and boom, I got one of my 2 logos. The other one kind of ripped off Macho Man, but that's between you and me. But the reason I'm wearing this shirt tonight, see, originally I was going to go with my Chase U shirt and antagonize those AEW clowns and showing them what the real #1 show is, but I got to thinking. It's been brought to my attention that there's this asshole named Orange Cassidy who likes to wear his own face on his shirt.
You've got to give the people what they want.
Well, Adam Blassidy's got a problem with that. You know, I've been doing this for years, and he acts like he's lazy. You want to talk about lazy? You go on WZWA Network, what do you get, 5 videos a week sometimes? Those dudes are working hard. Adam Blast, what did I do? 16 years ago, I made one funny song about Jim Ross's ass, and in 2023, I'm still bragging about it. That is lazy. So get on my level, Orange Cassidy.
Sucks. And I am embarrassed to be here. So I'm going to do what I have to do. Here we go, everybody. You can suck my balls. You can ride my train. I would rather shit myself than flush it down the drain. And I might be insane, but I'm a hooligan in my mind. I never finished this end of the verse, so whatever, let's just get to the chorus, alright? Alright, I'm an ass, I'm an ass, I'm an asshole. I'm an ass, I'm an ass, I'm an asshole. You can suck my balls. Bubba Ray in the front row.
Adam Blast, what did I do? Jim Ross's ass. I've been doing this for years and showing my asshole.
Yep. Cheers, mate. Yep. Thank you very much to Adam Blast there for the official WZWA Road Report for AEW's Blood and Guts. That was very cool, bro. Thank you so much. That's the 3rd time now he's done this for us. So very proud of you, Blastmaster, for all of your hard work that you do for the network. So let's move forward with the show here. I find out that Willow Nightingale and Ricky Starks won the Owen Hart tournaments. Starks seems like he's a heel now because he cheated to beat CM Punk, and it seems to me they're flip-flopping a lot of people lately. They turned Jungle Boy babyface. Now suddenly Hobbs is babyface. Ricky Starks is going back to being a heel. It just seems like there's a bit of flip-flopping around here with some of these dispositions of these characters. Anyway, the Owen Hart thing I still think is a bit weird. You know, they're promoting the figurines and what. He never knew that AEW ever would exist because he passed away a long time ago. Just seems a bit weird to be doing it now. I don't know. It's nice, but at the same time, it still comes across a bit weird. Anyway, here comes more lazy booking. Best friends and Darby Allin and Nick Wayne are backstage, and I think Darby Allin's said to Orange Cassidy that he wanted to do his friend AR Fox a solid and ask Orange if he'll give him a title shot, and Orange says, oh, you know, I respect you, Darby, so yeah, you know what, I'll give AR Fox a title shot next week. Mate, I could squeeze out a shit and that would come up with a better idea for booking a match than what we saw here. Nothing against the guys, but clearly the person who wrote that segment, you were so fucking lucky your dad is a self-made billionaire. What would you do with yourself? What would you do with yourself? Main event time, baby. Blood and guts match. The Golden Elite. Every time someone else joins, they add a different word to it. The Golden Elite take on the Blackpool Combat Club, as well as Takeshita and Park. And this match goes 51 minutes, 15 seconds. Here we go. I got a lot of notes. I've seen one blood and guts match, and that was, I think, that was the one between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle many moons ago. I don't think I watched the last one, but I think that was our first proper review, was the blood and guts match, or blood and guts show. Anyway, here we go. So this long, winding story here between these two factions is finally coming to an end. Claudio Castagnoli is out first, and so is Kenny Omega for the Golden Elite. And I thought to myself, did these two have a singles match at all during this big feud? Because if they didn't, you'd think if he'd put Kenny Omega versus Claudio Castagnoli as the main event of Rampage, that might pop a rating possibly. You might get a few more AEW diehards watching for that. If they didn't do it, because I have a feeling that sometimes some of these guys don't lose very often, or don't want to lose unless it's a really big deal. Like, how long did it take Moxley to finally lose a singles match clean, you know? Anyway, so the Ring of Honor pay-per-views on Friday night, and I found that funny because now they got Collision on Saturday, so we're going to be getting Friday night Ring of Honor pay-per-views for the foreseeable future, and all AEW pay-per-views will now be constantly be on Sundays, I'm sure. But no wonder Tony's overwhelmed. He's got this, Blood and Guts. Then afterward, they're recording Rampage. Then I believe they've got the Ring of Honor pay-per-view Friday. Lucky Rampage is taped. And then the very next day, they've got Collision. And Ring of Honor tapings, don't they? Fuck, man. Why did you buy the company for? I don't mean to make a big deal out of it, but shit. I read online that someone was saying that like Ring of Honor on Honor Club is basically like AEW Dark. It's just matches and some backstage segments here and there. And I'm thinking to myself, like I heard that, you know, Mark Briscoe, I said this the other day, Mark Briscoe, it was getting a title shot. He's not getting any more from a backstage segment. Like, where's the angle, mate? I knew this was going to happen. He's got 3 TV shows for AEW. He's got Ring of Honor. Why would anyone want to watch Ring of Honor if it's essentially just matches like on AEW Dark? Why would anyone want to watch it if most of your Ring of Honor roster is on AEW anyway? Your Ring of Honor World Champions on AEW television every week. So what would convince somebody to watch a different product if it's just the same people that you can see on the free television show on TBS? Why would you pay for Ring of Honor if you're getting less angles, less story, same people? You should have made the rosters separate. It should have been completely different. And they also said, this person said, what was unique and cool about Ring of Honor isn't there anymore. It's just another wrestling show. It's just another AEW show, but with different letters. Let's get back to this match. I just don't know why he bought the company for. Like 20 plus, it was over $20 million he paid for it. He can't be making his money back that quickly on it. That's a lot of money to pay for when you're essentially doing the show anyway, but it was called AEW Dark. Anyway, the cage, I guess this cage is improved since the very first one that I saw. I'm assuming that this is the same War Games cage that they used in the second one that they had, whoever that was between. Park was out next. They talked about him getting a broken nose in their trios match with the Death Triangle and the Elite. And I'm like, a broken nose had him out for 7 months? You sure? Or did you just not have an idea of what to do with him because you had too many people on the roster? Hangman was in next. And soon into this, he did a moonsault off the top rope onto Claudio, which made no sense. I don't know. I'm skimming through this real quick. Moxley came in next, and I wrote, let's count how long till he bleeds. He had a screwdriver, apparently, or a fork or something, and we're just getting some stabbings in the head here. And then Moxley brings out this little bucket and dropped out the tiniest amount of broken glass. At least the broken glass had a nice effect on the visual. When someone landed on it, you saw the glass all stuck in their back. That was pretty cool, okay? But we could have done with maybe twice the amount of broken glass as far as I'm concerned. Nick Jackson was in next, and you've got Moxley, you've got Claudio, okay? Like, I don't think Moxley is as imposing as Claudio, but he's still a big guy in comparison to Nick Jackson. And I thought to myself, who's intimidated by him running in next? Who's intimidated by that? Fuck, man. It just, when he was running out, I was like, oh, come on, man. Bless your heart, mate. Bless your little heart. You got your little bandana on there. That's very cute. And you shampooed and conditioned your hair before the blood and guts match, dude. Fuck me. Okay. Bunch of spots onto the glass here. Nick Jackson does all of his thing. Wheeler Yuta's in next. Here we go now. Sassafras Business is just picked up here, folks. Wheeler Yuta is coming out here, and my God, everybody in the ring right now, this is why it's going to be called Blood and Guts, everybody. Wheeler fucking Yuta. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being a dick. But what I fucking laughed at, man, Yuta's coming out and he's running, and then they go to commercial break. They went to commercial break for his shine as he gets in there, and when they come back from commercial break, the next person's coming out, and it's Matt Jackson. So Yuta's inclusion into the match, his shine, that whole moment. If I were him, I'd be fucking pissed, man. Like, I'd be pissed that my whole segment was fucking cut to go to commercial break. That's hilarious. I know you get your picture-in-picture, and the version that I was watching was on KO, so I got an actual advert. I know you can actually see it on the side, but still, it's this little box. Fuck, man, I thought that was hilarious. Really, Yuta's coming out, and he's ready to go, and then we go to commercial break. Owned, bro. Anyway, Matt Jackson. There was a short little moment there where he like totally handled himself with Claudio and Moxley, and I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, I get it. Everyone, like, all these fans love these guys and all that, but let's be realistic sometimes. Claudio would kill these guys. He wouldn't even need Moxley. He bonked their heads together like the Three Stooges, bro. Anyway, here comes Takeshita. All right, here we go. But fuck, man. Okay. One of the worst things of the match. I think Takeshita went for a German suplex on one of the Young Bucks, and for whatever reason, one of the Young Buck getting German grabbed his brother. Maybe he thought if he grabbed his brother that Takeshita wouldn't be able to lift him, but somehow Takeshita, I think it was him. Maybe it was Claudio. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was him. Anyway, it was a double German suplex, and whoever the buck was at the front just fucking bumped it like shit. And I was like, don't do pointless, stupid shit in a match like this. Just keep it as a fight, you twits. Jesus, at least the inner circle and shit, at least when they had a blood and guts match, so they actually did it the proper way and didn't focus on too much dumb crap. They need to keep that stuff at bay. Moxley brings out a bed of nails. Everyone in commentary was sickened by the inclusion of the nails, and Don Callis made me laugh. After everyone else said something like, oh my God, what are they thinking? This is disgusting. Don went, this is fantastic. Okay. The big countdown's on. Kenny goes into the nails to a big reaction. Here comes Kota Ibushi, the big deal. Why on earth? Okay. They're supposed to be locked in the cage, right? And then every time someone else comes in, they open the door, and then they have to lock the cage. Kota Ibushi comes out, and I'm like, why is Wheeler Yuta charging at him? Why did he get out of the cage to charge at him? That was bad, dude. No, that was shit. Terrible idea. I get it. You had to find a way to get Wheeler Yuta out of the cage so one of the Jacksons could, for whatever reason, want to go after him. Why would he do that? Why would he leave the ring to go after the guy that's 30 meters away to start fighting with him on the stage? Oh, that's why, because they had to think of a reason for them to be outside the cage so they could climb up to the top and do this fucking nonsense with these Northern Light suplexes on the cage, which eventually gets reversed into a DDT. So let me get this straight. Wheeler Yuta climbs to the top of the fucking cage, fucking I don't know how many feet in the air, and he's coaxing the Jackson brother to come up. He climbs all the way up there, only for Wheeler Yuta to cop a couple of fucking Northern Light suplexes, and then as soon as he hits one DDT, Wheeler Yuta climbs down. Why did you ask him up there in the first place if you didn't have a fucking game plan, you dolt? It's stuff like that. The only reason they did it was because they wanted him to be up there so he could pour the tacks from top of the cage because they thought it would be a really cool effect. I get it. You need to get people in these positions for a certain reason so you can do a certain spot. But when it's at this fucking much of a stretch to get them up there, you make you to look like an idiot. And you know what? You just made Wheeler Yuta look like an idiot. Why did he get out the cage? Why did he climb the cage? Why did he climb down the cage? Fuck. Anyway. Ibushi had got in the ring and he was knocking people out with, punches. Apparently he hasn't really wrestled many times in like 2 years. He's been injured a couple times and he had maybe contract issues. He's apparently a little bit, someone said online, a little bit out of shape. I can't confirm that. I don't know what he used to look like, but he didn't seem, his timing was off. And I'm not just saying that. His timing was off. Like several kicks did not connect with people. He did a running knee to Moxley and, or was it like a jumping high knee? And the camera angle is a terrible one for it because you could clearly see he wasn't anywhere near Moxley and Moxley still bumped it. But I thought to myself, this isn't I don't think this is the best way to debut this guy, to showcase him, bringing him in. I really think it was a mistake to do it this way. Because it made me think, I don't see what's so special about him. He hasn't done anything that's really excited me thus far. Anyway, I thought it was getting a little bit messy because we know the Elite are winning this because they lost the last thing. We know that they're winning. There was a cool spot where Park did like he climbed the railing across the top of the cage and he stomped one of the Jackson brothers through a table. That was cool, but I can't really figure out what the fucking issue was with him and Claudio. I know he's facing him at Death Before Dishonor for the ROH title. But there was some sort of miscommunication which led to Park like yelling at Claudio and pushing him and then leaving the match. And I'm like, that wasn't really enough to like leave this match, dude. Like, why did you sign up for it in the first place? You really wanted your revenge on the Elite for breaking your nose 7 months prior. And the smallest little miscommunication with you and Claudio and you just bail. Like, that's piss weak, man. That's like another piss weak reason for something to happen. How did Park know that there were fucking bolt cutters right there in that spot of the fucking under the ring? How did he know? What are the odds? Fuck. Then for whatever reason, Don calls for Takeshita to leave as well. So, and I'm like, this finish is getting shitty and it's taking too long now. You've taken two guys away from the Blackpool Combat Club. And like, they just have to ruin it with dumb shit. Like, what were they doing? Like, they had, did one of the Bucks have like a boot with thumbtacks in it and they stuck it in Wheeler Yuta's face or something? I'm just like, what are you doing? Just fucking finish him off. Finish him off, dude. What are you fucking around with your dumb shit for? It's supposed to be a blood and guts match and you're worried about putting on a little shoe. Fuck. They're just too much, man. I can't believe this Dave Meltzer guy fucking loves them. So they're fucking stupid. I'm sorry. They do so many dumb things. Like, I'm sure they think it's really cool, but some of their fans probably think it's cool. But when I look at them, I'm like, what are you doing? Take it seriously. It's a feud ender. And you're worried about putting on a thumbtack shoe or whatever. It's just, I don't even know what it was with their spikes. I don't know. Anyway, Yuta's the sacrificial lamb getting choked out with a massive chain. So that's the end of the feud. Wheeler Yuta gets choked out with a chain, the weakest member of the group. No. What the fuck? That's who you have get beat to end this big feud between these two stables? Wheeler Yuta? It wasn't that bad. It was all right, but there's just too much shit that sucked. I don't know if I liked it or not. It just seemed a little bit meaningless considering two of the guys from Blackpool Combat Club's side walked out. And I didn't see the hype in Ibushi, especially when I saw him miss kicks and miss a knee, and he just didn't seem like he was comfortable doing a match like this. I don't know if he's known for hardcore stuff, but it just didn't seem the right way to showcase this guy. So the Golden Elite win blood and guts. That comes to the end of this review here on the WZWA Network. And yeah, you know, look, it's just the angle with Don, I suppose, is not over with Kenny. And again, as I complained about on the Triple Mania review, the angle is so juvenile. Like Don, Kenny, the Bucks, along when they were there, Anderson and Gallows, they were a unit. They were a group. They all got along. They were a team. Yes, Don was with Kenny, but they were a unit. They were a team. The fact that they had that whole thing for all that time, and Don was like his confidant for decades, and said that Kenny was a wrestling god, the greatest of all time, the greatest in the world. And he turns on him. He turns on his friend, who he's been with all this time and been behind for so many years, because he's paying more attention to the Young Bucks than him, or he's listening to the Young Bucks more than him. Why would Don care that much? The Young Bucks are on his side. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, you have all these things that seem to like have this history. And then when you get to like that moment where you're going to make a change and go into this direction, and they have an opportunity to do something really meaningful or like shocking. But those things that are meaningful and shocking, that they're only meaningful and shocking if the reason behind it is really well thought out and intricate and interesting. To have him just be jealous over the Bucks or whatever the fuck it was, man, that's just piss weak. So I'm sorry. The angles suck. The matches aren't too bad. That's all I can really say. So, okay, I enjoyed the first match. I like Britt Baker. I really enjoyed the MJF Adam Cole stuff. That'll get a few points. Main event was okay. I didn't hate the show. There's just a lot of things that I could nitpick on this one. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Almost gave it a 6.5. Almost. But I kind of see it. Yeah, no, okay. I'll stick with 7. Okay, I'll be nice. Stick with 7 out of 10. But technically, I'm probably thinking 6.5. But you know, Dave Meltzer thinks a 7 3/4 stars is essentially a 5. So maybe it's a 6.75. And if it's a 6.75, then that essentially means it's a 7. So thank you all for joining me here on the WZWA Network for my review show here of AEW Blood and Guts 2023 on AEW Dynamite there from the TD Waterhouse in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm Karlifornia. This is the WZWA Network. Please check out #Pro Wrestling, the chat room on the Ryzen Network, RIZON.net. Great bunch of people there to talk to about wrestling. No one's really done it yet, but if you see this part, if you haven't clicked off already, try it. Just try it. I'm in there. You can talk to me right now. Thank you. We'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Do the McMahon strut. If you sneeze, stay away. Yes, I'm crazy. I make more money than you. Doing the McMahon strut.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.